All right, it's time to talk basketball. I'm Jose Salviati, editor at thepeachbasket.net. He is Steve Purciello, a longtime educator, vice principal, high school basketball coach, athletic director, and also the host of Celtic Chalk Talk. Celtic Chalk Talk is a pod dedicated to the latest news and opinions surrounding the Boston Celtics from a lifelong fan, Steve. His pod drops new episodes every Monday, but this is the Shot Clock Pod, the best 24 minutes of random NBA thoughts online anywhere. This podcast was born out of content in Steve's 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts articles, which he publishes weekly. Steve and I have exactly 24 minutes to discuss what's on his mind around the NBA. Today we'll discuss his latest 13 Rules Random NBA Thoughts article, where he shares his random thoughts as we are this close now to the NBA Finals. Now, before we dive into it, if you're listening to this, we are grateful. Thank you. We want you to know that you're listening to one of the independent fan-driven shows on the Peach Basket Podcast network of shows. We're not owned by a big media company, which means what you hear comes straight from real fans who live the game every day, like Steve and I. If you believe voices like this should be heard, the best way to support us is simple. Keep listening, tell a friend, comment, share. When this episode ends, head over to the peachbasketpodcastnetwork.com, head over to thepeachbasket.net, and check out more fan-run podcasts and help this independent network grow the way it started, organically, one Hoops fan at a time. We appreciate your support. Thank you. Steve, are you ready?
Ready.
Let's get into it. I'm going to start the timer, and we're off. All right. Now, NBA Final Four is set. We got the Western Conference. We got the Eastern Conference. We got the NBA Final Four. Let's talk about both. Now, we're going to go game by game, all right? Because as we record this, in the East, things might be kind of settled. In the West, still a little murky, but we want to go game by game. So let's start with game one in the West, which was a showcase for the alien, Victor Wembanyama. You called it a game for the ages for Victor. What was special about that game for Victor and the Spurs?
40 and 24 or 41 and 24? That's
Special,
not bad.
yeah.
And then the three he hit with, 30, 40 seconds left was
Right.
from, it should have been a 4-point shot. Just clutch, great. And we're only getting a small taste of how great this guy's going to be. We're just going to be, in a couple of years, everybody in the league is going to be trying to figure out how can we beat a team with this guy. And if Castle stays with him, wow. That's not a bad way to start with those two guys. You see it. The team, I thought Oklahoma would win, not because they're better as much as they're weathered. They've been through these things, and they kind of, where it's a step for San Antonio. I could be wrong. It's only 2-1, but that was my feeling on it. But that game, when Wembanyama just took the team on his back and carried them. The other thing I'm going to add is game 3, he only scored 24 or 26, and people consider that was a bad game. Think about it, because he didn't rebound real well. But think about what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's always been the thing, right? When you're up against one of the greats, right? Michael Cooper always used to say, listen, I'm not going to stop Larry Bird. I just want to make it hard on him, right? I want to make it difficult for him to get his 30. And if Bird had a 30-point game, but he shot, say, 30%, that's a win for Michael Cooper. When I look at Victor Wembanyama, he had 20-some-odd points, but limited rebounds. He didn't shoot well. That, to me, is a win for the Thunder, isn't it?
What's ironic to me, and I was thinking about it watching the game, and I started looking at something. I believe in the first game he took 17 shots. In the third game, he took 16 shots. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but what I'm thinking to myself, you're getting away from that guy should be getting 25 shots a game.
Mm-hmm.
And once, I understand Harper and they all can play. I got it. But you know what? I don't know anybody that can block Wemby's shot from anywhere. And all he has to do is post himself in the elbow area and just take it and turn around and shoot all day. So I got confused on that. And you want to take your best player and put him in the middle so there's room for him. But it just, to me, like he's got to get the ball more. He's got to have the ball. I watched a couple of possessions in a row where he didn't touch the ball. And would Larry Bird ever play like that? No. No, they'd get the ball. That was something that I think, and I don't know enough to say that Mitch Johnson or whatever, but I think somewhere he's got to move the team along to, wait a minute, guys, we got the best player in the league. We got to give him the ball and get out of
Yeah.
his way. That was something else I thought about.
Yeah, and it bears up. I'm looking at the numbers right now with one caveat, right? We know game one went to double overtime, so more time meant more touches. But that aside, 25 shots for Victor in game one, which you called a game for the ages, 16 in game two, and 13, no, pardon me, 15 in game three. So his shots are going down. And obviously his made shots are going down. Went from 14 to
And
8 to 8.
what about the assists? Where are they?
Non-committal, really. He had 3 in game one, 6 in game two. So his assists went up when his
Not
offensive output
enough.
went
Not enough. That means he's
down.
not
Not
touching the ball enough in the offensive end. And
right.
that to me just makes no sense. Oh,
Most telling to me, though, look at his rebounds.
I know.
24 in game one, 17 in game two, dominant, and then only 4. I remember, and again, you and I have been watching the game for a long time, but I forget who it was. I think it might have been Moses Malone, who was an incredible rebounder, would just laugh when he, I mean, actually, I think it was Wilt Chamberlain, when he saw Kareem Abdul Jabbar 7-2 with only 2 or 3 rebounds in a game. It just, how does he, those just come to you when you're that tall. How does somebody who's 7'4" only have 4 rebounds in one game that he played 39 minutes in? That's
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
scary. That's weird, isn't it?
one of the things that Oklahoma City does, one of the trends in the NBA right now is to take your big guy and technically guard the worst scorer on the other team. Oklahoma City puts 5 guys on the floor that can score. So
Yeah,
therefore, now if you could take Wemby and put him into the corner, opposite corner, he's not all the way out there. Usually he'll go halfway, but that's going to hurt his rebounding.
sure.
Generally, like we're going to talk about the Knicks, but if you look at Josh Hart shooting very well, throws everything out the apple cart because now you can't leave one guy and keep your big down to take away all layups. And that's where the game is changing for Wemby. And you see him halfway, let's say, towards the corner. His man is in the corner. He doesn't want to give the three because they can hit it. So he's about to come out when the ball moves there. It takes him away from the basket. And it opens things up for your team. That's when Hartenstein is not in the game. When he's in the game, that keeps Wemby down. But that's a difference. The other thing that's appalling to me is he is getting hammered. He's being held. He's being
Yeah,
and and I understand because if you play basketball and you play against somebody better than you, you've got to get
that's what you
physical.
do.
You got no chance.
Sure.
And I understand to try it, but because he's bigger and better doesn't mean you don't blow the whistle. And that's what always happens with guys
Yeah.
who are bigger and better.
Yeah, that was always the calling card for Shaq, right? And other greats, right? You pound them, you make it physical, you make it hard for them to get to their spot, you make it hard for them to get their shot off. And we're seeing that with Wemby for sure. Go
With
ahead.
Shaq, though, him going to the line, you didn't mind. Wemby makes it,
Oh,
makes the foul
that's
shots.
true.
And that's a big thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Good point. No, good point. So if you're coach, right, you're coaching the San Antonio Spurs, you basically are going to say 2 things. Well, I think it all starts with number one. We've got to get Wemby more shots. Is that where it starts and ends?
Of course. And the thing about this, it's a double edge. I don't, the NBA, the way it is now, is more of a read and react league, not set plays type where you go here and so on. So if you take him and put him in the middle of the court, you're taking away driving lanes for Castles and Harper and so on.
Yeah.
So it's a betwixt and between type situation. That's why a lot of
Yeah.
times he plays up above the three on not quite the foul line extended, but up there, almost where you should have something where you post him or put him even at the elbow and let him
Yeah.
get the ball there, but maybe not continuously. But even don't forget he made 8 threes against the Celtics in a game. So he should get the ball on the wings and up top and be able to take and let it go. Because if he gets rolling, look out. So there's more to it.
Yeah, it's not as simple as getting more shots, right? It's about how to get him those shots, where to get him those
Yeah.
shots. So yeah, if it were that easy, I think we would all be coaching. But game 4 is a must win for San Antonio. Fair?
Yeah, of course. And I would think they're going to. I didn't look at what the lines are, but I would think they would. I think Oklahoma in 6 would be what I thought going in, and I'm still leaning there. San Antonio's good. I don't know if they're tested down the stretch, and they haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
Although they held up well in game 1 down the stretch. Oklahoma City, they just keep coming at you. And by the way, Caruso is playing out of his mind. Both, and you get a little tired of Reggie Miller calling him chaos or whatever the heck it is. His ability to shoot has really changed the series, the dynamic of the series. Probably one of the great mistakes the Lakers made is letting him go.
No argument from me. Alex Caruso is the type of player we've talked about on this show before several times. He's the type of player every NBA champion has. Just a scrappy guy you don't have to call plays for, knows what to do, rarely makes mistakes. That's Alex Caruso. And I'm happy for his success.
Yeah.
But I picked the Spurs. I picked the Spurs. I'm sticking with it. And I do think if they win, when they win game 4, we're going to see a turnaround. Because you called out something I think is important. They're not proven, right? I heard somebody say, and I forget who, doesn't really matter, but at this point in the season, there are no rookies because everybody who's been a rookie has gone through it, right? You're not a rookie anymore. And so we're going to see now if the Spurs learn something in game one, game 2, and game 3. If they can apply that in game 4, flip the switch, they're going to win it all.
Generally in the NBA, there's stages as a team develops. If the Spurs were to go to the finals, they've skipped a couple steps. So
Yeah.
in my mind, I think that's why. But there's other things too, and we'll talk about the Knicks, but there's stages for them, and they've skipped a few things too to get where they are.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it, because when you study teams through the years, how many times did Detroit have to lose to Boston in the playoffs before they beat Boston? They got older, but they still beat, and then they were ready to be champions. So
how many times did the Bulls have to lose to Detroit before Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan and his Bulls became the Bulls?
and
There's a
Cleveland,
process. Sure.
and that's what I don't see.
Got it. No, fair enough. Fair enough. But sometimes a blind squirrel gets a nut.
I'm not arguing.
Got it. 2 times every day. A broken clock is right.
Don't forget, you're not beating an average team. You're beating the league champions.
They're league champs. Yeah. Which is why this is the NBA Finals. All due respect to the East. But let's talk about the East.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. Here's the pivot, right? That's the pivot. So let's talk about the East. Now, we talked about game 1. Let's start at game 1 and kind of work our way up. We had already talked about where it stands. New York is pretty much, they're buying their tickets already. It's done and done, I think. But game 1 in the East was interesting because it was as bad for the Cavs as game 1 in the West was good for the Spurs and Wemby, because there's losing a game and then there's losing how they lost. Was that the beginning and the end for the Cavs?
Well, I didn't think. Don't forget, and I think I mentioned this, but for bettors, I said if a team that has a week off, they always are sluggish. And both times, Cleveland would have covered a spread, and San Antonio won when Oklahoma was off for a week. You could see that, and the Knicks weren't. But what the Knicks did is they hit gold. What was gold? Making Harden defend Brunson in the fourth quarter. That was the game. That was the whole thing right there. And when that happened, and then the other piece too, if you watched it, Cleveland couldn't score. But they didn't quite give the ball to their best player. Harden kept trying to break things down and score. You know what? Sometimes you got to give it to Mitchell and get out of his way, because he did take a shot or two, but not as many as he should have down the stretch. And that was important because they had the opportunity to put the Knicks on the defensive, meaning losing the first game, and they blew it. And that was it. The series pretty much was over after that. And the Knicks last night, every time Cleveland got close, the Knicks just put it away. When they just made a few shots, and it wasn't. I thought the Knicks were like toying with them. The other thing too, the Knicks are playing out of their mind. They're playing as good a basketball as you can play, and that if it continues, they're a tough out. They think they've got a shot at the whole thing, a good shot. They're just guys are shooting the ball as well as they've ever shot it. It's amazing. This is a team again that lost 9 out of 12 or so in the middle of the season. So all of a sudden, everything is working. Every guy on the team is shooting the ball well at the right time.
Yeah. And listen, part of winning the NBA Finals is being lucky. Anybody who tells you different is lying to you, right? You got to go into it healthy. And if you can go into it on a streak, right? Just getting hot at the right time. Back in the 80s, the Lakers would always talk about flipping that switch, right? That playoff switch, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a real thing. But if you just get lucky, the switch is flipped and you're healthy, that's luck.
Well,
That's not anything you can really do. And it looks like the Knicks are doing it at the right time.
they're playing real well. They move the ball. They're very unselfish. The other thing you see when you watch it, and I know they've had some problems getting along or something, but they are very willing to give the ball up to each other, which tells me you got everybody on the same page. And you don't know, and I don't know if Cleveland's on the same page, and that's an important piece to it. And they have that. Everything is right. Everything is
Yeah.
going right, and
Yeah.
that makes it a dangerous team in the finals.
So, and I want to clarify because I don't want Knicks fans getting too mad at me. I'm not saying the Knicks are where they are because they're lucky. The Knicks are where they are because they're very good, but it takes a little bit of luck, is all I'm saying,
Well, of course,
to make it to the NBA Finals. And luck's rolling their way right now. I'm looking at Game One, and I hadn't looked at this before, but the box score, it was very interesting. In the first quarter, the Cavs scored 16 points. That's underperforming for a quarter. In the final quarter, they scored 18 points. Now, in the second and third, they scored 32 and 35. So when you look at the totality of the game, because we think about that big lead that the Cavs blew, but they only had two good quarters, talking to me, right? And then obviously they got dismantled in overtime. Go ahead. Go
the
ahead.
Knicks didn't look sharp in that game at all until the fourth quarter, and basically they found something and they just kept
Yeah.
going to it. But
And
they
they've
didn't look
continued to
sharp.
find it.
But they didn't look sharp and right from the get go. With the other two games, they've looked sharp. And the ball's moved and they've made open shots and they're shooting the ball real well. Guys are,
Yeah.
Mikal Bridges, I think they gave him up for dead a couple weeks ago. And now he's unstoppable. So that's where things changed.
Yeah. All right, you hinted to this, and I want to dive into it a little bit more. We've talked about Harden. We've talked about his struggles in the playoffs. I think he's a big part of why the Cavs are where they are because he really re-energized that team. I think in the regular season, but now he's a bit of a liability, right? A key for the Knicks' success has been, and you wrote about this, that Brunson Harden matchup. Why does that favor Brunson?
Harden can't defend. Very simple. Can't defend
Simple as
anymore.
that.
It's going to be interesting, the money, because he wants an extension on his contract. And offensively, he's still a good player. The
Yeah,
guy was 10 years ago, but defensively, he
no one
hurts
is.
him. And I guess Allen and Mobley are pretty good bigs, but they're not shot blockers. And they don't, Mobley's better straight up as a defender. Allen, yeah, he's okay, but you need the back line that will, and to give the counter to that, if you think of Wembanyama, every guy on his team becomes a better defender because if they get beat,
Yeah,
the big guy's there. I
right.
don't know in Cleveland. I don't know if they can get away with that. Is the point because they're not getting the help they need, and Harden just he gets chewed up and it hurts him. I guess Harden will be able to score points till he's 50, but I don't know about the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no argument for me. You called out the winner in the West. I think you said Thunder in six. What's the prediction in the East?
It's over. It's over.
I mean, is it a sweep or is it 4-1,
I,
four
I
two, four
thought
three?
five. I was wrong. I thought Detroit would beat Cleveland, so I was totally wrong. But I thought if Cleveland got there, I think we talked about. I said five, so I'll stay with five. But I don't. I think the Knicks are going to just beat them. I think Cleveland is throwing everything they have at them, and nothing's worked. So I
Yeah,
just, at some point, the will isn't there anymore, and I think
yeah.
that's where we're heading on that.
Yep, no argument from me. Let's stay in the playoffs because we have some non-playoff news that we want to get to if given time. But you wrote about this, and I always thought it was interesting because historically rotations are shorter in the
Right.
playoffs, right? You
Right.
get teams that are super deep, but you're paying maybe five, six, not five. You're playing six, seven, eight players at the most in the playoffs. But you called out that the Thunder are the deeper team and it's
God,
benefiting them in the playoffs. Why is that a benefit when it normally historically hasn't been to have a deep team?
they've got guys on the bench that can go off for 25 on any night.
Isn't that
AJ
weird? Yeah.
Mitchell, who's not playing tonight. AJ Mitchell's one. McCain just did it. He's coming off the bench. He's having a couple big games. These are bench guys. These aren't starters.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, case on the guard that can shoot and defend. Wallace. They just go with players that just keep coming. And it's difficult. Don't forget when Presti built this team, Sam Presti, he had draft picks for everybody. When he got Shea Gilgis, they got draft picks. And so
Yeah.
therefore he's
A
been
lot.
able to that's right. And he's been able to grow a team. And the interesting thing is most of them have come in the league in the last couple of years, so they're low paid. The
Yeah.
question is going to be in a year or two, are they going to be able to pay these guys
Yeah.
what they deserve? And I don't know if they can, unless the owner goes for it. But
Yeah.
right now, you just keep coming with bodies that can all play. They're not
Yeah.
guys that can defend or no, they can do a lot of things, and that's what makes them just so
Yeah.
special.
Now, we don't have the time to do a deep dive into this, but maybe in the offseason we can talk about this a little bit because I contend that every 14th player on the bench can go off for 20. That they're in the NBA for a reason. But you put the 14th player in a game with time to do something, and most of them are going to wilt right under that
Well,
pressure.
if you
Go ahead.
watched last night, Cleveland used Tyson, and Tyson had a couple times where he had a path to the basket or a shot, and he passed it up and he kicked it to one of the better players.
That's what I'm
Because I think
saying.
there's a
Yeah,
reluctance to do that,
exactly.
to make the play. Because in one of the games, what's his name, Keon Ellis, I believe, or Clark, whatever his name is, he had the ball and he was in a situation where he could score, but he immediately gave it up to somebody else on his team. And it just
Yep.
told me that the moment is big and let the other people, the stars, handle it.
Yep. Which is exactly what I was getting at because you're making my point for me. I think the credit's got to go to the coaching staff. And I've always butchered his name, so I can't pronounce it right.
Dagenham.
Dave Dagenhall, thank you. I think credit goes to this guy because he's not only putting his players in, he's giving them the time, but he's giving them the confidence. Take your shot, man. I don't care that you're a 15th player on the bench. That speaks volumes. Am I wrong to give credit there?
No, he deserves a lot of it. And coaching's an interesting thing. If you get the players behind you and have, it's great. If you lose the players, you got a problem. And he has done a good job
True.
through the years. When they were losing, he has done a good job. And right now, it's paying off. It's again, I was talking about harmony and teams playing together. I think they've got all of that. They've got the coach and they've got guys that want to win and play together. So that's what you need in the playoffs. I'm not saying San Antonio doesn't have that. I kind of think in watching it, as we were talking about Wembanyama not getting the ball, I think Mitch Johnson's still trying to find his way. And I don't know if he wants, because to me, you got to take charge here. And you got to, hey guys, let's wake up here. We got this. They don't. Let's use it. And I don't know if we'll see tonight, but I don't know if he's taking advantage of it.
Yeah, and this coach is about to be the one of the few coaches to win two NBA titles with the same team. So I got to learn how to pronounce his name. So
I don't know.
that's on me.
You know what? Don't go out and buy your T-shirts that says "Oklahoma
Really?
City Champions." Look. If you watch basketball, a team that shoots well from three in a given game, usually they'll have a cold game. I haven't seen the Knicks shoot poorly.
Yeah. Okay.
This is not like a one night thing. You saw Boston, who makes a lot of threes, get beaten Philly in the playoffs, and in the three straight games they lost, they shot about 28% from three. So my point being, I haven't seen teams get on this kind of roll where they just everything they throw up goes in.
Okay.
So that was my. I wouldn't say it's over yet, but
Okay. All right. Like I say, I've still got my Spurs hat on. I'm still picking the Spurs, but let's see
yeah.
where it goes. But I don't know if you heard it. The buzzer did go off. Our time is up. We did not get a chance to talk about Jason Kidd. We did not get a chance to talk about the oddity that's happening the oddities, maybe it's a better way of putting it, that's happening in Portland. We'd love to talk about both of those. Maybe, again, we got an off season coming up. Maybe we can talk about those.
Yeah.
That is it. Our shot clock, it went off. Shot clock violation, another one for us. Our time is up, but thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Make sure to read Steve's entire 13 Rules article so you can get his thoughts, right, on the Jason Kidd thing, on the Blazers thing, and more. And of course, join us next week for more NBA random thoughts as we start to discuss the NBA Finals. Here we go. We'll talk next week. Thanks, Steve.
Take care.